Greece, a land of whitewashed houses, blue seas and endless sunshine. But so far, most of what we've seen is grey. Despite the rain, we keep heading south, onto the Peloponnese, home to some of the most important archaeological sites in Greece. Along the way, there's a chaotic ferry crossing, a major campervan issue we have to fix, and a night in a quiet town where we get an unexpected visitor. Then we reach Olympia, where the ancient Olympic Games began nearly 3,000 years ago. And this is where Greece starts to really surprise us. Pretty wet outside today.
Beautiful scenery here, eh?
Yeah. Not that we can really see it. Oh my god, oh my god. That was one of the heaviest downpours we've ever experienced. Look at the water coming down there. And 5 minutes later, we've got blue sky and the sun. This is K2 Vasiliki, where we have chosen to hopefully park up for the night tonight, right on the water. And from here we can see the new bridge, the brand new bridge that goes over to Patras. And just for something really different, rain and thunder and lightning in the night.
So we got water out this side, and let's have a quick look on state of affairs on this side. I think we might move to high ground there, Susie. It's starting to lap up a bit.
Gosh, we really are in a lake here. The lake's almost joined to the sea. So we found the tap. So we're literally here on the end of this village where people have said they've used this water tap to fill up their tanks. The sea is quite rough. The big question, will he get splashed? I'm staying safely in the van. I'm not going out in that crap. We drove to higher ground. With more rain forecast, we plan to stay in the van and get some work done.
Stop it!
When there was a break in the weather, we explored the local area, and we love these little shrines. We see these all over Greece. Even though it was still raining, our work was done, so we headed off for some more sightseeing. This bridge crosses the strait between mainland Greece and the Peloponnese. It was opened in 2004. Back in our Kentucky days, we had to take the ferry, so we've decided to do that again today. And also because the bridge costs about €25 for a campervan.
God knows what he's yelling. That's what he's going to do.
We're so close, there's no way I can get out my door, but that's okay. Opa, opa. He's so close. Oh my god, I'm so nervous.
Without having to go anywhere.
Yeah.
That's right. I can't get out this side. Oh, I've turned myself into a cat. Can you get out that side?
No, not really.
So, if we did decide to have to evacuate, we'd go through the hatch boat.
Yeah.
Go cat-like through the hatch.
This is Nigel trying to get out. He's gone out the side door.
It's okay, je suis acrobat. Check out this bridge, man. It's just a wonder of engineering, isn't it? Oh, look out, Sue's going to get acrobatic. You're going to get a wet, what's her name? Look how the poss is wedged.
Okay friends, I'm going to take one for the team and show you how bad the toilets are, because that is all I remember about this ferry. This is the upstairs deck. There's a little thing there, but it's clearly not happening. I don't even know where the toilet is. Well, it's not that bad. Not that good either.
Well, these cars are going first, but there's no way I'm getting out there. This guy's going to have to move. It's alright, we're going nowhere late.
Tonight's park up is in a truck stop in Patras. Oh, there's a van over there.
Okay.
Looks looks like a
Oh,
toilet
there's
block.
some toilet blocks over there. Look, Sherry.
2 vans.
Hey.
Okay.
Excitement here. So the chili oil mixture has been brewing in the potato cavity for a week, and now we're just decantering it into a nice bottle. Look at the how rich that.
Look at the colour of it.
Yeah, it's quite red, isn't it?
Listen to that rain.
Oh, look at that. That's pretty cool. So I've just topped up the jar just a little bit more, and we're going to get a full bottle out of that. And then we test. Oh yeah, that.
You need some bread. You need it on some bread, Nige.
We'll do that. Yeah, that hits the back of the throat. That's going to be wicked.
Look at all those chilies still in the thing. I reckon you could use those chilies over and over.
Yeah. We don't have any water.
No.
So you could put. So I'm going to have to rip the bed out to assess whether the pump is getting power, and if it is, then we've got a new pump we can replace it with. So that's my job this morning.
Thank goodness. So yes, currently our bedding is all there.
We're just hoping that it doesn't rain, because I mean we've. That sounded like whinges. Fucking hell, we've had some rain. Jesus. Go to Greece, they said. It'll be fine, they said.
Yeah, wrong.
It's not freaking raining.
We're actually parked up in this truck stop. So there's mainly all trucks, but it is also for campers. There's a toilet and a cold shower. I think the shower is solar, looking at the top of the roof of that building.
Yeah, it was cold. So yeah, at least if we get the water going, we're going to have a hot shower in the van.
This is what the sky has looked like for the last week. Actually, I tell a lie, it's looked like this for 2 weeks.
If it does rain, then we can quickly shut the doors and keep everything getting wet. But
Yeah, I've just got everything folded up there.
down here is where I need to get into, so that let me just show you quickly. So there's the power to the pump, and then it runs down inside. It's one of those submersibles.
Of course, the water tank's like completely full, so.
Yeah, she's chockers. But I can, you know, drain it out. I might actually do that. I'm just showing you a torch down there. Look at all that dirt and crud. Alright, so just sucked on the end of the hose, and then gravity feeding out. I'm just going around the hose clamp. That's just off the hose clamp. So without getting into the pump,
That'll be why the pump's stuffed.
yeah, it'd just be you're trying to suck that sort of clay through is not going to do it any good at all.
Right, my job this morning is going to be to find a store where we can get an inline water filter for the hose.
I just put the multimeter on the connectors down there, and Sue turned the tap on. We're getting power, and also you could hear a faint through the pumps. So my theory is I'll take that out as we did last time, remove the pump, clean it, do a dry run or wet run, and chances are that might fix the problem. Alternatively, we've got this new pump that we picked up in Bulgaria, in Sofia. So like an hour later, and I'm still finding this brown scum. It's kind of gross. Now I'll work my way up to this end. There is another access point, but yeah, look at all this shit that I'm picking up. Bad news. Alright, so before I commit, I've just put a little bit of water in there. It's gurgling, but it's not doing anything. I think she's boogered. I'll try that new pump and see what happens. Right, disconnected the old one and connected the new one, which is down in the tank, jimmy rigged Let's see if we got water. Aha! Success. So yeah, it was a buggered water pump.
With that job done, we hit the road and head further south. This afternoon we're in the town of Catacolo. Looks quite chilly, and it is. And we've come here on a recommendation from some of our Patreons, Leslie and Charlie, so thanks for the tip. It's really cute here, little harbour town. Gets very busy in the summer. It's a cruise ship port. So all these little cafes and tavernas would be full, and from here the people from the cruise ships go to the ancient site of Olympia. And we are going to Olympia tomorrow, but we've just come here because Leslie and Charlie said it was a good spot for a free camp at the harbour. Cute little boat.
Yanis, what have you got here? Oh, we've got some...
Lemons is for my garden, okay?
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
You taste it, right?
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is my production.
Nice.
First time here? First time
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, first time.
It's a long way New Zealand to come here.
Yeah, I know.
You live in Europe?
Yeah,
or-
well, that's why we bought the van. Yeah, well, that was just another one of those cool interactions with the locals. And we got a tap on the door about an hour ago, and yeah, that fellow Yanis telling us in German, you can sleep here tonight, all that stuff. So talking to Sue, who could understand.
Kind of.
And then I'm sort of looking blankly, but then he said, "Do you want some? You want something? You need some oranges? No, you need some
Didn't have oranges, sadly. They're
wine,
not sweet
olives."
yet.
Olive oil,
Mm.
which we're pretty good with. Anyway, we got to wine. He said, "Oh, you know, what wine? Red wine." So €3 for 1.5 litres. And it's actually not too bad, but it's what we call a tourist tax. So it's nice when you can, you know, pay back.
And a massive bag of fruit for €2.
Yeah. So there you go. We've got like
There's a good few kilos in there.
yeah.
It's meant to be 2 kilos. It's a lot more than that. So €5 to stay here overnight. Some wine and
some fruit.
yeah.
Awesome. Happy days. Oh, wow. So we go with the freshly brewed chili oil.
Oh, look at that. The sun is just coming up here at Catacolo. This is where we spent the night, in the middle of this car park by the harbour. Today is going to be a good day. We're hoping for a nice sunny day as we head to one of the main archaeological sites here on the Peloponnese. There's police here.
Yes, where do you want to go?
Well, we're going to
Olympia.
Olympia.
To the archaeological site.
site.
You should go only through Flokas.
Flokas.
This is the next cross, through Flokas.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
We don't know what's going on, and now we're just heading down this tiny little road to a place called Flokas. That's the road surface. God. Well, we found out why the road was closed. There seems to be some sort of a marathon or running race going on today, which is kind of cool when you're in ancient Olympia. Olympia Marathon. Cool. First we had the marathon in Skopje and now here in Olympia. Okay, so as the next marathoner goes past, you stop and get your ticket here. €20 per person, which covers the archaeological site and 2 museums. The Archaeological Museum and the Museum of the Ancient Olympics. There is a reduced ticket for €10, but you have to be a European citizen over 55. And we come to the entrance with our tickets.
Μέλπο, η κάμερα αυτή επιτρέπεται.
Καριστώ.
Παρακαλώ.
Well, here we are in ancient Olympia. 3,000 odd years of history right here.
Pretty cool to be here, eh?
Olympia is the birthplace of the Olympic Games, where athletes once competed not for medals, but for honour, glory and the favour of the gods.
That's a wicked looking mosaic right there.
This is really quite awe-inspiring. Like, there's so much here. Just crazy, like, how many of these just pieces of old rock are just lying around everywhere in here. These ruins here are from the Temple of Zeus, and that's one of the most important historical buildings of ancient Greece. And it was built between 470 and 456 AD. So all these columns have just tumbled down and they've just left them standing there. And just so you can see how big those pieces are, you know, with Nigel in the film, and one of them there being reconstructed to show us what it was like. And this was the largest temple on the whole Peloponnese, and it was excavated by the French in the 19th century, so they started in 1829. And finally, the Temple of Zeus was destroyed by earthquakes in the 6th century AD. So I guess that's what caused those columns to tumble over. So it stood for over 1,000 years. So this is the base of the statue of Nike, or Victory. And I believe we're actually going to see the statue in the Archaeological Museum. This is the stadium from the ancient Olympics. So these ancient Olympic Games started in 776 BC, and they were held every 4 years right here in Olympia. And all of the wars would stop at that time, and people would come together under a general truce to meet here in Olympia. And in the ancient Olympic Games, they had running races, wrestling. What other sports did they have, Nigel? Oh, that's right, the javelin throwing. Discus. And this stadium could seat 45,000 spectators. Apparently they did not have stone benches except for that little section over there, which is where the judges sat. So I guess everybody else just sat on the hill. Maybe they bought a picnic blanket and a bottle of wine. Right, we're about to walk now up to the Temple of Hera. She was, of course, Zeus's wife. And this is where the disc of the sacred truce was kept. So if this view here looks familiar, you've probably seen it many times on the news. This is where they light the flame for the Olympic torch every 4 years. Actually, maybe it's every 2 years if they do it for the Winter Olympics too. We were just Googling and found out that they actually lit the Olympic flame 4 days ago. So today's Sunday, the 30th of November, and they lit it on Wednesday the 26th for the Winter Olympics, which are being held in Italy around Milan and Cortina. Oh God, I've got to negotiate a puddle here. And because the weather was so bad here, they actually did it in the museum. Wow, that was awesome.
It was. Walking in the footsteps of the Greek gods, Heracles, or known to us as Hercules. It's quite awe-inspiring, isn't it?
Like, it's a huge, vast site. Yeah. We spent a good hour walking around here.
And to think that the more recent, or you know, what we ended with is something like 2,500 years old.
So now we're going to go to the museums. Oh my God, look at all these little figurines. Votive figurines. Inlaid bone eyes. A female griffin suckling her young one. That is cool. It says here that this is the only preserved complete massive bronze relief in ancient Greek art. Dates from the 7th century BC. So this is the Nike of Paionios, and we saw the triangular column out in the archaeological park. This is the victory statue that stood at the top of that column. This large room contains all the sculptures that remain from the Temple of Zeus. It was so impressive. On the walls in this room, we've got the 12, they're called metopes, I think that's how you say it, and they were like sculpted pictures, and there's 12 of them that were in the Temple of Zeus, and they depict the 12 labours of Heracles. And on this side is from the east pediment, which this one is the chariot race of Pelops and Oenomaus.
The race.
So this is from the west side, the pediment from the west side of the temple, and this is the Battle of Lapiths and the Centaurs, and that's the god Apollo in the centre. Now we go and see the recreation of the statue of Zeus. So it's actually just a picture of what it would have looked like, and it's called the Chryselephantine statue of Zeus. I don't know what Chryselephantine means, but it's one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. And the sculptor was very famous, and I'm going to try and pronounce this too. His name was Phidias, and he also did the sculpture on the pediment of the Acropolis in Athens, except they're not in Athens anymore, they're in the British Museum. So we've just stopped for lunch at a traditional Greek taverna. We're having gyros, however you say it. And I asked, do they have a vegetarian one? And they said, we can do it without meat. So they probably charge the same price. I hope they put extra chips in it.
Gyros without the gyros.
Yeah, look at that.
Perfect.
Nigel got his Tabasco. Let's have a look at yours so you can see what it's supposed to look like with meat. And the vegetarian gyros. It's like a chip butty with tzatziki, onions and tomato. I'm like so excited right now. Yum. So good. Well, that lunch got the big thumbs up from the two of us, especially me, because my gyros without meat was only €2.50. That's a bargain. We're now making our way to the final destination for Olympia, which is the Ancient Olympics Museum. Many hours later, and people are just finishing their marathon now. Good to see. We've come to the museum. The Olympic Games were held without a break from 776 BC to 393 AD. And I find it really interesting that they were held for 1169 years, and one of the most important parts of those Olympics was the sacred truce, the suspension of all hostilities between belligerents for a brief period before, during and after the Games to enable them to be conducted properly. We haven't learned much, have we? Because we get boycotts and countries not allowed to go and all that sort of stuff. We're a little bit museumed out, so we are walking through here quite quickly. And the interesting thing is women were not only not allowed to compete, they were also not allowed to spectate. If they were caught in there, they got thrown off a mountain. This museum is included in the combination ticket we got before, and I don't believe you can just buy a ticket for this museum. The other important thing to note is that the tickets are only available for use on the day they're purchased, so you've got to do all 3 things in the one day. And by the end, you'll probably feel a bit
museumed out.
like we are.
to be honest.
Yeah.
But very good.
Yeah, 100%. Really enjoyed it, especially walking around the archaeological site.
It made me look up the origins of the marathon. We're watching all these runners coming in. It's based on legend. I actually thought it was based on fact, but it's based on legend. Some 2,500 years ago, when whose name I can't remember.
Wasn't it Pheidippides or something like that?
Pheidippides, yes. Who was tasked to run from Marathon to Athens to advise of the battle that they had won, Nike, to victory. And he promptly collapsed and died.
Yeah. I would too if I ran a marathon.
With armour on was also the legend.
Join us next time as we check out one of the most beautiful beaches we've ever seen. I tackle a challenging section of a hike on my own, and we check out not one but 2 amazing ruined castles. Is the rain over, or will we get more storms?